Hello everyone and welcome to my video. I'm Karas and I'm very happy to be back again. It's been a while since I've done a video, but I'm back. It's happened. It's been a year, but I'm back. So today we'll be talking about how to redesign a very old drawing, a 10-year-old drawing to be honest, and the result will shock you. It's been about 20 years since I willingly started to draw. Not that all the other artists were forced to draw. I mean, like, make a Last Supper reproduction on the sticky note before supper or no dessert for you. Wasn't like that. I had my crayons and pencils and sometimes even pen, a habit I broke out of in the last year of college, thank God. And I'd scribble on every available surface. No redecorating the walls for me, the butt whooping wasn't worth it. My father worked at a bank and used to bring home expired forms to help light the fire in winter, I think. But lo and behold, they were only printed on one side, so the blank one was fair game. Time passed and now, in my parents' attic, are at least 5 plastic folders collecting dust, filled with drawings of all kinds. From Sailor Moon fan arts to school assignments, cute animals and horses and fairies, because some things never change. Looking at them brings me to tears, half from embarrassment and half from the memories they bring back. Whole days of doing nothing else than drawing, that was a very good life. I picked up on the idea of drawing to improve in high school when I was still salty if people criticized my hideously malformed hot girls, which included reactions like, if you don't like my drawings, you should make your own and then talk, or this isn't wrong, it's my style. Ouch, catty and arrogant, so if I could turn back, I'd slap some sense into my old self. Once, while commuting by train, a bunch of kids my age were breathing my air while I was sketching, and they made sure to comment on every line I traced. But once I started to crosshatch, one of them exclaimed in awe and shock, "Oh my god, why is she making the character so hairy?" My take from that interaction was pure indignation. How dare that simpleton? Until today, when I looked at the drawing and realized that it does look like hair. A magic hairy girl, yay! Up next, in an ego-stroking kind of way, I'll redesign, reshape and refurbish this ancient drawing. I'll start from posing and body proportions, then move on to giving the character some personality and even a bit of a backstory, and finally some detailing. A little disclaimer before we move on. Self-critique is important, but giving yourself some slack is just as important. Don't be too hard on yourself, especially if you are just at the beginning of your road to artdom. Every artist is different, and we each have our own little quirks and charms. What's important is to never stop learning, to be open to criticism done in good faith, and most importantly, don't be a dick. Posing and proportions. When drawing characters, the clothes, hair, accessories, weapons are very important in conveying personality, purpose, goals, and even history, but the pose is just as important. A strong character must, for example, stand proud, with their back straight, chin held up high, and a confident stance, while a whiny wimp would slouch, crouch, and have no power to punch.
Man, who wrote this crap?
What works in the drawing? What does my girl say by her pose? Let's see. She's touching her cheek or tucking her hair behind her ear. Her shoulders seem drawn in, her back is a little bent forward, rotated legs, it all seems to indicate shyness. At least the hair and skirt thingy float in the same direction, so I guess 10 points for wind consistency. The positive things that I can work with were in no way, shape or form an active choice back then. It was more like intuition. The clothes seem to be made from some thin material, especially the skirt, and she's barefooted, so I'll assume the 15-year-old me thought the character spawns from a very warm, almost desert-like climate, so we'll keep that. It could be just my imagination from the fact that I've been staring at the drawing for so long while writing this, but it seems like she's pulling away from the energy ball or whatever that thing is, so I will assume she's a beginner in the magic trade. Now for the things that don't work. Her energy ball seems to be made of some kind of electricity, but the detailing on the clothes remind me of fire by the way they curl and twist. The leg and chest bandages could also be a sign of some fire magic gone wrong, so we'll stick to the fire theme, maybe add some burns, some band-aids. She's also very tall. I won't keep that. In my worldview, the idea of tall and shy don't mingle too well together. Why be shy when you tower over everyone else? Unfortunately, her expression doesn't say anything either. She's as blank as Brie Larson in Captain Marvel. Now that I think of it, she looks just as insufferable too. Ugh, now I don't like this drawing at all, so the faster it's remade, the better. Personality and backstory. Now that I've straightened the redesign in broad strokes, let's have some fun with some backstory. When drawing characters from the top of my head, characters that aren't fan art or book illustrations, I find that doing a bit of world building around them helps me choose their clothes, their pose and expression, thus defining their personalities too. Doing book illustration helped me a lot, because when you have a text to work from, where the author kindly suggests a birthplace, eye color, how the character holds their spoon when having cereal in the morning, all the illustrator has to do is make a bunch of studies and sketches that include those specified characteristics, mush some of them together, sprinkle some oneself on top, and voila, all done. One fully formed, well-rounded character ready to go. As specified earlier, judging by the pose, clothes, and details, this girl is a shy, clumsy beginner fire mage from a warm zone, so I'll be focusing on emphasizing some of those traits and exaggerating others. Pedal to the metal, break the dam, every little line in this picture must lead towards the final goal, which is making sure that everyone who sees it will be able to know exactly what's going on. I'm pretty sure now that whoever said the picture is worth 1,000 words was a visual artist. After loosely sketching the pose, I outlined the facial expression as a point of reference to help me understand what the character feels. I had initially planned to make a couple of sketchy poses, thumbnails, to see which one works best, because I heard that's how serious, professional, thorough artists do. But after a couple more lines, I was more than satisfied. The character expresses everything I had in mind. Legs closed tightly together signify cringe. Eyes wide open show disbelief. Hand close to face and fingers hooked express panic, while the other hand is being held as far away as her body allows it. I kept the clothes design pretty much identical to the original drawing, save for the bracelet tattoo dirt on her right wrist, as it felt useless detailing that didn't say much. I added some patchy skin on her left leg to show that she burned herself, splayed her toes and left hand fingers to imply full body tension. I mean, the woman has live fire in her palm, there's bound to be some stress there. When the first sketch is done, I lower its opacity, and on a fresh layer I start working on line art, which means doing the clear, clean lines. Once again, the facial expression was a priority. When talking about drawing facial expressions, probably the Disney artists are the masters. There's pictures of them pulling faces in mirrors as they create characters, and it's as hilarious as it is fascinating. It's a trick I've been using ever since I heard of it. Just plop down in front of the mirror and draw not only what I see, but also how I feel the muscles pulling the skin tight, where the tension is strongest. Saves me a lot of time I'd have otherwise spent looking for pictures online. If you start doing this, and I highly recommend you do, be careful to at least close the door and beware of the fact that after some time, you'll do this whenever you draw faces without even thinking about it, so be careful when in public if you don't want people to think you're missing some screws. When telling a story through an image, there's this thing I like to do, and that's showing details from the past, present, and future, showing what the character did to get into the shown situation and where the whole thing is going. In this case, I added the book and scribbled some nonsense on it. The girl was studying her spellcasting again, a repeated action indicated by the bandages, and already knows some stuff since the book is levitating, but something went wrong, which brings us to a stressful, tension-filled present with a rapidly approaching future. The fire from her palm is spreading and it already reached her elbow. Hopefully by now the viewer is invested in the character's fate and will be intrigued as to what could happen next. Of course, the viewer won't analyze this image with such attention to detail, or the book illustration industry would be huge. All the information I've talked about in this video, or at least some of it, is a matter of seconds, while the person looking at this drawing scans it quickly and the brain processes what's going on. Internet and social media helped a lot of artists show their art to the world, and a lot of them became successful, and I couldn't be happier. There are bad sides to this too, as scrolling through feeds becomes faster and faster, and the time people actually spend looking at a picture diminishes. It's why, as an artist, creating compelling images is very important. You want people to want to stop and give your art their attention and time, and when scrolling resumes, your art needs to have made a lasting impression. So go ahead and create, never stop learning, and be honest in your craft. If you like what you can make, others will too, I promise. This is it for this video. I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe, because I'm on YouTube and the law says I must tell you this. Thank you for watching, and stay creative.